ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I am Rob, also known as the Dungeon Tutor or Omnisci on YouTube, and I am doing my fourth video today, this being the 4th of August, for RPG a Day, the feel-good movement that we've been working on now for 9 years. It's been going on, where we put up positive content for the community in whatever medium that we use. I, of course, do it through the medium of YouTube videos. And the question we have for today, in day 4, is where would you host a first game? Because the earliest questions were, who would you like to introduce into RPGs? What is a great introductory game? And where were you first introduced to role-playing games? And those are good questions, clearly. So an important idea is where you can take that person that you'd like to bring in. Now, I'm just going to take this in the general sense, not any one person. But where would I like to introduce somebody to a game? Right here. Right in my home, my own basement. Bring them in, let them have that experience. I've brought a few people in here and had some really good experiences. But why? Why would I invite somebody to come here into my home? First of all, I only really invite high character people to come to my home. So I'm hoping that if I want to introduce you to role-playing games, I like your character, and I think that you'll be a good fit for my group, or you're the kind of person who has a wandering, bountiful imagination that really could benefit from learning about role-playing games and trying them. So here, where I am at my most comfortable, my most in command of what's going on around me, is it ideal in 100%? No. I've got, laundry machines over there because this is a working basement. But I have some creature comforts around here that can be, kind of nice to have. The biggest things I have on hand are all of my gaming resources. I have my wall of game books right there. So if somebody is like, there's a lot involved with that, I can say, well, yes, it is, but if you look at this and this and this whole thing is not a game that you have to learn all of this to. These are lots of different games, so that if you want to try something different, I can show you worlds of different gaming opportunities. So that's nice for the wow factor of somebody who's never been introduced to role-playing games. Yes, there are more impressive libraries. No, I don't have every game that I ever wished I had or anything of the sort. But I do have the resources so that if anybody's like, well, this game isn't for me, I'd like to try something else, I have lots of else to try. Also, this is where my miniatures are. So if I'm going to be using anything for inflaming the imagination of somebody, I have 3D dungeoning tiles, I have miniatures of lots and lots and lots of monsters, and I have so many different characters. Odds are, no matter what you're imagining in a fantasy character, I probably have a miniature to match that. And if I don't, something that's at least a fairly close approximation. And even if we go science fiction or something, I have, some Star Wars figures, and many of those were pretty broad range. I have some that would work fairly well in a number of, say, Warhammer 40,000 games. I have, a decent selection, as much as my space, lets me have. So, all things considered, having something that your players can look at and associate with their character, and then see that character trucked out into the unknown, and then having huge monsters to menace them. It gets the blood pumping, it gets the imagination flying. I have a variety of other tricks, too. I mean, oh geez, it's raining out. I just hit my whiteboard and I can trigger my strobing lights and lightning sound effect. Is it a little cheesy? Yeah, but you don't need much for, imagination in a game. If you just need a little bit more to push you over the top, you've got it. I frequently try to have fog machines that work, but they always have such a bad fail rate. I don't know why. I have such miserable luck. But I have a variety of other sound things too. I've got a sound box I've got, of course, my Bluetooth speaker, which I can hook up to my tablet, my phone, whatever. I can play music from tabletop audio, which is great for setting the mood. And honestly, it's those first experiences that you have that really can determine whether or not you're going to be hooked, whether or not it's going to take. And as I said in day 2, what game would I use to introduce a person? A great one would be something like Swords and Wizardry that I can break out. I have all of the stuff here, plus supplemental stuff if I feel like I want to use it. I have, from all of my GUI Cube stuff, I have tons of handouts. So I have proxies for monsters, and I have portraits for people that I could just pull out and use to help inflame the imagination and immerse my new player in this world so that they want more. Because ultimately, when you're new and you're trying to make a decision like that, somebody who's vested and has interest in you thinking fondly of that hobby, of that pastime, they want you to be immersed. We want you to really love it and to walk away with a desire for more. And if that works, then hey, we might have a great relationship. And who knows where things take us? Maybe someday you'll run a game that I'll happen to see and be able to play in too. It's the way that you make great game masters, is by trying to be a great game master yourself. So where would I play? Right here would be great. Oh sure, there are plenty of places that are atmospheric and would be fantastic. If money were no option, if time were no option, if I could cart up whatever I needed to take to this game, my miniatures, easily enough, a battle mat rather than hauling around 3D dungeoning stuff, yeah, I could do that. Obviously, the stuff that I showed off on day 2 with Swords and Wizardry Light, Swords and Wizardry Continual Light, very, very small burden to have to take any of that stuff around. That and a single module, and I've got a whole tote full of adventure modules for starting level characters that I could easily pull out and use, which would give me maps, might give me some pictures and some other advantages. And of course, I can raid through other things that I've got to have all the 3D miniatures that I need. And again, maybe even handouts that I pluck out from the various GUI Cube products or other imagery that I've gotten from patronizing artists like Terry Pavlett, rest in peace. I could probably put on a pretty good show for somebody. And, you know, oh yeah, wouldn't it be great to play in a castle? There's some people who are trying to raise a Kickstarter for something like that, or something like that's going on. Would it be cool? Absolutely. Atmospherically, sure. There are places that you could play that help to work on that. But I've also done pretty well at the local hobby shop too, and that has the nice point of being a neutral ground where people can come in. They're not at my home, so no worries there. But, you know, I can have a variety of people come from all walks of life and just play games together. Thrill in getting to try a new game and playing. You know? Something like that, very low investment for me, but I can really make a rich, a feature-rich game for a group of people in something like that where people can find me. And that's all I really need. Give me a chance, and I'll put on a great game for you. And right now, you know, talking about introducing that first person, yeah, maybe they'll be interested in a game themselves because of the game. If you've seen Critical Role, for instance, even if you're not interested in Dungeons and Dragons before that, you see Critical Role and say, hey, that might be really cool. Hey, if you want to play 5th edition, yeah, I'll run to 5th edition for you. I'll make it real easy for you. It won't be full 5th edition because I won't expect you to know the rules right off the bat. But I do have some ways of running games that most people can find pretty engaging and low burden on the players. I take that on myself just so I can give you a good time with the game that I'm going to put out for you. You don't have to know fancy rules for Magic, or you don't need to know how the combat system works. Just roll a die for me, tell me what you get. You don't even have to refer to your character sheet most of the time because I know what your numbers are. But, you know, if you want, you can tell me. It'll be good practice for you learning. And then we'll get that first session out of the way. You'll know what the experience is like, the give and take of role-playing, the listening to the game master, deciding what your character should do or would do. Not always should, but sometimes would. And then just saying it. putting it out there. My character would do this. All right, great. Roll a die and let's see how it turns out. Excellent. That's what I would look for. So, that's my answer to this question. Where? Here, or someplace where I can find people and draw them in, a neutral place where I can give them a great game and hopefully inflame a love for gaming in them. So, that's my answer. And hopefully this works for you. Again, if you thought this was kind of a cool idea and you have your own ideas after listening to me, feel free. There's 31 questions for RPG a day. If you want to take a bite, shoot a video, write a blog, even put a post on social media. That's, but get ideas out there if you want to, and be a part of it, because it's pretty cool, and I think it does actually help to build a little bit more community, be it more of a positive influence than all these negative distractions that we've got swirling around us all the time. But hopefully I will never be a negative influence, and certainly work hard to make that so. So, without any other rambling on my part, I am Rob, or Omnisci, or the Dungeon Tutor, whichever you prefer, thanking you for joining me this day. Again, if you like it, please feel free to, write something in the comments, or subscribe. That's always nice. But thanks for joining me. I do appreciate you all, and I hope that you continue with me for many more videos, because the month has just started. Until next time, my friends, thank you, and farewell.